The next major thing that I really was involved in regarding the LGBT community had to do with a request I received as a member of the faculty at the University of Washington from the president of UW asking me to head up a ad hoc task force on LGBT issues and the university. I will say that my reputation as being a bit of a radical led to the president getting advice prior to that not to involve me. But I know the person in the provost's office who convinced him that I was serious. I'm a Gemini. I can both be out on the street and I can do serious intellectual work and all the rest of it. So this guy said to the president, no, if he accepts, he will do a good job for you. And I found this all out later. So we put together a interesting group of staff, students, and faculty to deal with these issues. Why did the university have to deal with these issues very directly? Well, first of all, it was really lagging behind other major US universities in terms of LGBT policies and programs and activities. And as we got involved in it, the task force realized that the UW had been coasting on the fact that Seattle was so progressive on these issues, that there was so much going on, that the university didn't feel it had to do anything. Of course it had non-discrimination clauses and all the rest of it, but it didn't need a center for LGBT students because there was so many organizations in the community. It didn't need any kind of introduction or materials to help new staff members get acclimated because there were so many things going on in the community, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So 2 students had written a report, a grad student and an undergrad student, both exceptional people. I know both of them, and they've gone on to do some very interesting things, that critiqued the university's position, and this was done through student government. And so President McCormick, this was Dick McCormick at the time, decided to appoint this ad hoc task force, and as I say, he called me up and I agreed to head it up. So that was maybe a 2-year effort, and it culminated in a lot of stuff which is now just taken for granted at the U. The Q Center, for example, was our suggestion, and that there needed to be a center primarily but not exclusively for LGBT students, and so forth and so on. And a number of other things that went on, curricula changes and the like. There was at the time I can't remember her name, but a vice president for minority affairs or whatever they called it, a woman who was a Chicana, a lesbian, and I wish I could remember her name, but she was very supportive. And we also, there was at the same time a task force for disability rights because the U had not done much there. And so we did some work together to understand that the kinds of, if you want to call it oppression or if you want to call it just ignoring these groups that were being marginalized, had a lot of similarities. And this was another example of the LGBT community can't remain as isolated as it sometimes seems to be. So, yeah, riffing off that in the larger sense, during the AIDS epidemic and so forth, the height of it with people dying left and right, and by the way, we lost of the people in ACT UP. I mean, it was really emotionally just gut-wrenching, the people who were dying. Hold on, let's cut this for a second.